last week, politician Nikki Sinclaire silenced gossips and ended speculation among fellow MEPs by announcing that she had been born a male. Nikki's decision to go public about her gender reassignment surgery brought an end to over 20 years of secrecy.
However, if the strains of that secret weren't enough, there was a darker one to follow, the horrific rape she was subjected to, which has seen her reject men ever since. Let's discuss first of all, before we go onto these points that you've been very honest about in the book, former UKIP party secretary, 2009 elected to the European Parliament, you're representing 5 million people in the West Midlands. What made you lie to journalists in the first place, not just tell them who you were?
Yeah, just to clarify, I represent We Demand Referendum Party now, nothing to do with the UKIP. I've been subjected to journalists asking me, and certainly, formerly UKIP had made kind of the press people had made kind of threats, and I thought, if the story is going to get out in the public, I should be the person to make the story, because I obviously know the reality and they don't.
And I imagine to actually then go and do that for the first time and to write it in this book was probably quite a scary thing for you to do.
It was a very, very difficult thing, because you go through the childhood, which was quite traumatic, and you begin to relive it. And even some of the most mundane things that you think were just, you put them down in words, and then when you go and read them back, everything floods back to you and becomes incredibly emotional.
Quite healing as well, I imagine.
Hopefully in time, maybe, but I think at the moment it begins, there's a lot of the raw emotion of it has come back.
Yes.
You're very similar to maybe the Billion situation who we've chatted to here, because you knew really right from the age of 3, that I'm in the wrong body here.
Yeah. You can't really articulate it at that age, you just know there's something wrong. You know at a later age that you had those feelings at 3.
And so when you began to understand a little bit more about yourself, how did that affect you?
Quite really, it was traumatic. You would hope that it was some miracle. I was very religious, a Catholic, I was an Irish Catholic, so I used to pray every night. And of course you'd wake up and then
pray that you weren't the person that you...
you just pray, you pray that you'd be okay in the morning, be a girl or whatever, and of course that would never actually ever happen, of course it wouldn't, but you don't understand it. But if you're brought up a Catholic and you're told if you're good and you pray, things happen.
Yes, right, so I can understand that. And you, obviously then you have the onset of puberty, which is a horrific period to go through in your life.
But there was something, the only thing that was more traumatic than all of this was, I witnessed my father almost murdered at the age of 7. Which was this was far more traumatic than this. This is incredibly traumatic, but to see my father, he was thrown over a 20-foot balcony right in front of me, and I kind of ran to catch him.
What age was he?
7.
Gosh,
and in the book I write, I think that's when my childhood ended.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I, in many ways it was an absolutely awful thing, but it made me grow up faster and probably was able to handle the difficulties about my gender probably more easily. I was far more mature at an early age.
When did you seek, first of all, the first time you thought, right, okay, I'm going to talk to somebody about this?
The age of 16, because I was very politically aware. So I knew that there was about the pill course about the consent debate. So I knew that doctors couldn't divulge your secrets when you were 16. So I had to wait until the age of 16, and I approached my doctor, who was very unsympathetic.
It's much later before you can start the reassignment.
Well, unfortunately, we weren't so enlightened in those times, and you couldn't get treatment for this, because it's a medical condition, and not many people understand that. They think it's some type of extension of sexuality, and it's nothing to do with that, so it's gender. And most people do not ever question their gender in their whole lives. It's something that's very natural to them. But obviously, if there's something medically wrong, and the condition's called gender dysphoria, you're questioning it. So, and in those days, in the 80s, you could only get treatment at the age of 21.
Well, before you underwent the actual surgery, you had an intense period of hormone replacement treatment, and you said this was like a chemical war on your own body.
Yeah, it was. I was a very fit and active person. It left me bedridden. Could hardly move. And it was months. It was a terrible time.
And so, when you wake up finally, and it's all done, the body that you always knew you should have is the one that you finally
It's not your first thoughts.
What are your first thoughts?
Bit agony. Well, I had an epidural and I couldn't feel anything below my waist. which was a problem because they were really worried that something had gone wrong during the operation, because I couldn't feel my toes for 24 hours. So I had a huge pain in my upper body, my back, and that was the first thoughts.
It's a very risky op, isn't it?
A lot of people die on the operation, and so it's during the week. You're in bed for a week and you can't eat anything. You can drink water. That's about it. And so it's over the course of the week that you begin to realise, and then you beginning to come to terms, and it's like a relief.
You say even though you were told when you go into something like this is a very, very dangerous operation, you could die on the operating table, you said that you would rather have taken that to stay rather than stay as you were.
Absolutely, because beforehand I had no life. It was not life. I was pretending to be something I'm not. And now when I wake up every morning, whatever I do, I'm me, and I do that to me. Prior to that time, I was someone else. I was pretending to be something I was not.
So then you end up, finally, after being ravaged by the treatment and the problems of the operation, you become this, you become you. And having gone through everything you go through, and had gone through as a guy, you then are subjected to one of the worst thing a woman.
Well, actually, after the operation, I almost died. I had a deep vein thrombosis and pulmonary embolism.
And you were bedridden for a year after.
And then suffered incredible depression. I went back into after about a year of that, I had to get myself moving. So I went back into education, went back to university, and then began social life. And some of the things that were slightly in the media were slightly wrong. It says that, then the rape happened. But I had actually started sleeping with women prior to rape. It's been misreported that the rape made me lesbian. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Of course.
That's not true.
But nevertheless, that still happened. That moment, that terrible moment happened.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel towards me? You said you were having relationships with other women, so you had having lesbian relationships. So did that confirm the route that you wanted?
I think it must have made, it had an impact, obviously, so it didn't have any impact. For a couple of years I was very aware of this man. And, I would make comments, I can't remember what, but I would make comments and I would, hear myself and I was thinking, God, that's very anti-man.
But you've been with, when you were a guy, you've been with guys, so you were leading a gay life then.
Sort of.
And then you have your reassignment surgery and you're gay again.
Well, not straight away. I did sleep with men afterwards. It was only probably about 3 years afterwards I just found myself looking at women probably longer than I should have been, and that was very confusing at first, but I made the decision I wasn't going to beat myself up about it, because I've been beating myself up my whole life about who I was. Do I want to beat myself up again? I sort of just go with it and go with what I feel.
And actually what's more important to you than anything else is that you're now not defined by your sexual status in any way, and that your future, and you have this political career that is incredibly important to you.
Well, it's one of the things that I did write the book about, is I've got 4 years experience as an MEP, and I've been quite successful in the things that I've done. I forced David Cameron to the dispatch box. That's the first time in the history of this country that a Prime Minister has been forced to the dispatch box by public petition on the EU referendum. We've collected over 3.5 tons of food this year for food banks. I've helped over £250,000 of people with debt, personal debt. International human rights work. I've been to Gaza, I've been to Afghanistan, I've been visiting prisons, countries in Bahrain. I've done a huge amount of work without the tag. So I've shown I can do the job without the tag. And what's to be seen here, and what I would ask the media, is if you believe in an equal society, you wouldn't put that tag in front of my name.
Yes.
But the media straight away began to do that, which is contrary to the message of my book.
You are obviously a very committed politician, but do you think that there is a danger that your sexual status will define your political career?
Well, that's what I'm hoping not, and that's what I'm, I did do a YouGov poll, which said that 66% of people would still vote for someone who had gender reassignments, regardless of that, if they were intended to vote in the first place. So that's quite positive. I think, in the book, as you said, which basically people can get close to say, right from juniuspress.org, and they can
put details on our website.
Thank you so much. I will be donating £2 to a local rape crisis centre for every book that's sold further to go.
Where are you now in your head? Are you happy? This must be the happiest time for you.
Well, happy. I mean, I've been happy for the last 20 years.
Sure. But now, I'm assuming this is that you are entering the rest of your life now.
Absolutely. You know, I've built a fantastic life for myself. I'm me, and I really care. I'm the only MEP in the country that goes city to town to meet my constituents. And what I get back from the people under district politics, it's a huge problem in this country. And I really feel passionate because coming from a disadvantage, growing up in a South London council estate, being during the winter of discontent, and all of those hardships there throughout the 80s, but I feel passionately that ordinary people should be given a say, and I think they're so marginalised by professional politics.
You want to be an MP, so you want to. You're an MEP now.
I'm seeking re-election next year.
But you're an MEP now.
But campaigning for my own redundancy.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because if you manage to get what you want to achieve, and that's to get us out of Europe, then you're voting yourself out of Europe.
That was the first thing I said when I was elected. I'm campaigning for my own redundancy, the redundancy of every other UK MP, because I think the European Union is not worth it. We have to get time to debate the ins and outs of the whole EU. But from my perspective, I think that it is the wrong way for us. I think we'd be far better off as an independent country. But most of all, what I'm actually asking for is a referendum, so we can deal with this issue once and for all. I think this is what Cameron's saying, knocking this on to 2017, is the worst of both for us. I think we should just deal with the issue and move on. If people want to stay in the European Union, that's good. Let's make it work for us rather than years of uncertainty.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Nikki, the pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much. You'll never give up. We'll give you those details on our website, as we said. Thank you.
Thank you, pleasure.
If you or anyone you know need advice or support regarding gender reassignment, or you've experienced a sexual assault, we put helplines on our website.